if this happens, then we go to the next level. And if this happens, then we go here. It's like an escalation. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of arrangement, those kinds of options where each party is meeting a set of predefined obligations or milestones that have been set down in writing, that to me is the best kind of deal, because then you don't have this big pie in the sky, vague goal that no one quite understands and that people get unhappy about when it's not accomplished. But if you have very clear milestones, then there's less room for misunderstanding, and there's more opportunities to correct along the way if something isn't going quite as planned on the side of one party or the other. But, going into these things with a clear understanding is very, very important. And one of the things I find with most people, and particularly with artists, is they don't plan very well. I mean, they come to you and they say, I have this great art, and, what can I do? I want to be famous, or I just want to get this out to a bunch of people. Well, that's not really much of a plan. I mean, I guess it's a starting point, but to have a plan about wanting to reach the south side of Los Angeles or Chicago, or being a blues artist who wants to tour the Southwest, or having a vision, to me, makes a really, really big difference in whether or not someone is going to be successful or not. Look at Puff Daddy or P. Diddy or whatever he calls himself now. Would you like to take a guess at what he's grossing every year just in his fragrances, accessories, and clothing line? Would you like to take a guess?
I wouldn't try, but it's more than what I have.
He is grossing over half a billion dollars every year, and that's not even with his music. That's just with his colognes, his fragrances, apparel, and accessories. Okay. Now there was a guy with a very clear vision who's working his tail off, and he has diversified his portfolio more than anyone I can think of right now, and having some kind of vision like what he had is key to having success. I mean, throwing a dart at a board when you don't know where the board is makes it really hard to achieve anything, right? So why is it that so many people go through life without any clearly defined goals? Why is that?
Well, unfocused and don't really have a clue really what they want, and maybe need a little bit more time to try to find their focus.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people will avoid thinking at all costs, and the people who really sit down and think things through and plot out a plan and write it down. Did you know that people who write down their goals they're the 3 percentile of the population, and those people are infinitely more likely to achieve their goals than the other 97% of the people who don't, simply because 97% of the people aren't really clear on what they want in the first place. It's the process, I think, of writing it down that makes it really, really important. We had a great program on earlier this week, and for your listeners who may have an interest in this sort of thing, we do teleseminars quite a lot. And a teleseminar is a workshop. It's kind of like this radio program where you can tune in from anywhere. And the topic this week was urban music marketing trends, and we had RBC Records partner Brian Shafton speak to us for about an hour about trends in the urban music marketing space. And he, of course, has had tons of success helping every type of artist you can imagine, from Jay-Z to Snoop Dogg to Tech Nine, really achieve maximum sales and coverage in the record world today. And we were talking about the importance of a plan and how so many people go out and spend a ton of money and waste it, more or less throw it away, because they don't have a street date, they don't have a clear idea of what they're going to do with their album, they just have a couple of wild ideas, and suddenly you look up and you're $50,000 in the hole and you don't even have a record to show for it. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that?
And real quickly, last question, short and sweet. Can you give like 3 quick bullet points for advice for people that wants to get into the music industry behind the scenes?
Yes, I can give them 3 quick bullet points. Number 1, learn, baby, learn. For the rest of your life, learn. Read and absorb. Number 2, model success. Find the people or the artists who are most successful doing the things that you want to do and study them. Follow them around, read everything you possibly can about them, figure out how they created their success, and model your success after their success. And number 3, subscribe for free at NARIP.com. That's www.NARIP as in Paul.com. You can subscribe there, and we send out free weekly bulletins with all kinds of information, interviews with executives, resources, you name it, programs that people can get involved with. Come meet all kinds of record executives on the East Coast. We've got a program coming up on November 3rd called Trends in Music Licensing, a practical guide. So for all of your people out there who are making music and producing music, this particular program is going to be a practical guide on how to make money with your music, how to license it, and what the nitty-gritty and the who, what, when, where, and why of that is. So those are my 3 bullet points. Number 1, learn, baby, learn. Number 2, model success. And number 3, subscribe for free at NARIP.com. We would love to include you on our mailing list and be in touch with you, my dear, and your listeners.
Okay, now, do you have any people that you want to thank before we conclude?
I would like to thank you very much, Jarrell Mason, and I would like to thank the young man of New Jack Swing who referred me to you. What is his name? Mr. Knyte.
Andrew Knyte. Yeah,
Andrew Knyte. Yes, very nice fellow. He found me on Facebook, or I found him, and he was kind enough to refer you to me. And that's, by the way, how great things like this happen, is someone puts an idea in somebody's head or recommends someone, and suddenly you got yourself half an hour on a really hip radio show like yours.
I thank you, and I appreciate it and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Time Machine exclusive, Miss Tess Taylor, President of National Association of Record Industry Professionals. Miss Taylor, thank you for doing this interview, and hang on the line.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
All right.